family. Thank you so very much. It is a thrill for me to be here today at the Waldorf, a place that I've always associated with such enormous glamour and style. I grew up in a small apartment on East 64th Street. My mother, Ann Purse, was a private duty nurse at Memorial and Sloan Kettering, of which I am extremely proud. We shared a very modest one-bedroom apartment for much of my youth, and it makes me just giggle with delight that I can be here with her today at Christmas time. At this very special event amongst you all. One of my idols growing up, and I don't think she's aware of this, was, and still is, by the way, Cynthia Nixon. Word traveled very fast amongst the young theater nerds of New York City, how this young, beautiful young actress was not only on Broadway, but in 2 shows at the same time. Now, my friends and I were fascinated, and we were exalted that such a thing could happen. It was as if this woman had magical powers. I have watched Cynthia my whole life, and my admiration for her and her work grows every single year. So you can imagine how excited I am to be sharing this day with her. I realize now how much it has influenced me, the decisions I have made growing up in New York City. I'm very, very lucky to have grown up here when I did. It gave me a spirit of independence that has held me in very good stead. The women's movement was culturally alive and crackling during my childhood, and I was one of its lucky recipients. I remember being one of the first classes to have the privilege of sex education in school. I remember with great clarity the first Ms. magazine that sat on the coffee table in my stepmother's living room. I played Mrs. Claus in the Christmas play. Santa had a cold and couldn't deliver presents, so Mrs. C had to take over. I was very efficient. I was encouraged to study great women, read biographies, something I still love to do, and write book reports. Our teachers took us to the Frick and to the Met. The arts were an integral part of lower school education. I also grew up in the theater, where there is such interdependence among artists that I really wasn't aware of sexism until I started working in Hollywood. It was a shock, and at times it is still a shock. When image takes over content and quality, I bristle. When I'm told to accept the substandard as above standard, I get angry. When faith is lost in the financial potential of great artists working on great material, my heart sinks. In this time when we have reached for and achieved change, and in this time where financial change has been thrust upon us, it seems to me to be an opportunity to re-examine what is of value to us, to our businesses, to our communities, to our families, and to our lives. Regardless of the form it takes, creating something is not easy. It can be as uncomfortable as it is fulfilling. While working, I've tried not to be afraid to say no, and not to be afraid to say yes. People may not like you all the time for it, but if it is said and explored to strengthen and protect the work, it is worth someone thinking you difficult, especially when the conflict pays off and the scene is a little more complex, the actors a little more interesting, the audience transported a little further. It is an emotional investment that pays off for everyone. I've wanted to be an actress my entire life, to be connected to a community of artists who have the similar vocation of creative translation. That communal creative spirit continues to invigorate me, to strive and to simultaneously surrender, to be scientific with art, yet artistic with the science and formulas of production and performance. These are the things I muse upon endlessly, and I could not be more blessed with a more satisfying preoccupation. I wish for all of you an equally challenging obsession. I'd like to thank my great, just my dream come true, Mark Schauer. Thank you. My fiance who's here. Cindy Berger and Jennifer Plant from PMKHBH, who have been with me for a very long time. Thank you so much for this great honor and for the chance to take my beloved mother and my cherished stepmother to lunch at the Waldorf.